I've never played classic World of Warcraft, however I recently mastered Season of Discovery, but a lot of people told me that the original game is much different. So let's master classic WoW 2. This is it, the final push to master phase 1. Now to some people this could be maximising their professions, or getting that sweet epic mount, or even getting to the highest PvP rank, which right now is rank 11. For me, I had to do all of this before I can say I feel like I've gone from a noob to a pro. So sit back and join me as we finish this phase. After ending the last video with our Molten Core, I decided to become a part of the guild, Spooned, as a social member, so I can join their pugs and continue raiding with them. They also had a really cool tabard, bright pink, that I think fits the rogue theme very well. Anyhow, things in Stormwind always take a slight detour when gnomes are involved. I don't know, there's just something about these little gremlins that just makes me chuckle. We ended up just chilling around a campfire, talking for a while, and more people just kinda joined in, and it's pretty cozy I must say. But then duty called, and it was once again time to go and slay a dragon. And as I tell them, I won't forget them, I ride off into battle, back into Onyxia's lair. And this was the rest of the raid left over after Molten Core. Damage was flying, and I was in the top 3 damage fighting for that spot.
Nice.
This is when I came to the realization too that you can just melee Onyxia when she's in the air, but you want to make sure you spread out here, and other than that, just another easy dragon kill. Now for the loot, and it's awful. Yep, awful. Nothing here of value to us. 2 druid helmets as well. One of the things we've got to do now was farm up the gold for that epic mount. While I'm now exalted with Darnassus thanks to an extensive supply of rune cloth, I still need a whopping 800 gold to even buy the tiger. Thankfully me and Leofa had a pretty good business going of selling hodge runs, even though sometimes I would get aggro in stealth and I'd get the shit beaten out of me, but the gold game was great. I'm nearly back up to 400 and halfway there, but we can only do 5 runs of this dungeon in an hour, so we are unfortunately time locked to how much gold we can make. I also decided to finally make Ironforge my home now, as I'm sick of flying there from Meneville Harbour. Okay, one of the worst parts about Classic WoW is coming up, and bear with me if you don't agree, but let me explain it to you. It's called ranking. Now Leofa is the commander, that is rank 11 the highest rank, and that's a rank I have to get to. How do you rank? Well, Alterac Valley is how. And how many do you have to do? A lot. While at first it's a fun experience with friends, it slowly becomes a very mundane grind, where actually losing for the most honour becomes the best strategy. As you can see here, I need 90,000 honour to get to the max rank of 8 for this week, and you get roughly 3 to 4,000 per one. And if you win, you get 3 medals you can turn in for 300 honour. But as Alliance, you lose nearly all of your games. It's just how the AV map is designed. And if you think that 90,000 is a lot, well it gets worse, and a lot worse. I'll speak about that a bit later. In between my AV grinds, I was still selling them hodge runs, and while we was making good gold, we was very lucky boosters. We would constantly get it people who said they've never seen it in over 100 runs, which is a very good thing, but it's actually a bad thing for business. As we are getting more people the trinket so fast, it means less gold for us overall. So it's a double-edged sword. But I must say, I definitely do feel some compassion for these guys. I just don't know how they can afford it. And another place where I'm going to be spending a lot of my time is Stratholme. There's one item we basically need to get, and that's a cape of the Black Baron. It's an insane cloak, and right now we've got a really crappy green one. The rest of our gear is really good. So it's an item we must get soon. So because I'm selling Hand of Justice runs, I'm only limited to how many times I can run this. So when we do get the player the item they want, we then spend 1 lockout here and there and vice versa. So now, do you remember when I said gnomes are creepy players that would often or not probably ninja loot stuff? Troz and his friend the tank had a bad feeling about a lower level gnome in the group, but I said it was his call if he was going to remove him or not. He said, we can try with him, but we will master loot the last boss, just so we can't ninja. Troz then says,
might try to steal cloak too.
And I said I'd cry. So bear with me, I am going somewhere with this. I'm also using all my world buffs left over, so I'm blasting as we clear through this dungeon. The shaman braces drop that you can easily sell for a bit of gold, and everybody greeds them, so maybe this mage isn't a ninja looter after all. We end up finding a rare spawn called Stone Spine, and this guy, I've never seen him before. We kill him and he drops a cape with 7 strength, 8 agility and 14 stamina. Much better than my current green cape. So while working it out and trying to judge its stats, the paladin tells me to take it. But look what happens. The mage needs it. Why, oh why am I not surprised? I roll need, but the mage wins it anyway. Everyone is like, WTF. This poor 58 mage is stood there without a care in the world. Trozen says, I did tell you, as the mage just turns around and runs out of the dungeon all happily.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Honestly, same thing as always, but this is just the beginning of the journey I had in this god-forsaken dungeon. We end up having a blast and running it a few times. Troz is searching for this well sought after healing necklace that drops in here, and me, obviously the cape. The paladin tank is playing 2 characters at the same time. He's not multi-boxing, as I know you're not allowed to do that, but he's tabbing between them and attacking. I thought that was pretty cool, and everybody was just having a blast. Then we had the wise idea of trying to do a stealth run. The reason this was a dumb idea is because, 1, we don't even stealth to go past the mob, so we fail instantly, and 2, they give you a 10-minute damage debuff if hit, which druids can't dispel. So yeah, we decided to bin this off and not do it. Most of my time now at max level was just between Alterac Valley, Stratholme and Blackrock Mountain, at least during the week as I waited for my raid lockouts to come back up. I would become a menace to the horde, especially me and Leofa together. With both of us positioned on one side of the wall, when they pulled, we would pounce, charge at the kiters and kill them. From there, we would be able to single-handedly destroy the horde's attempt at winning and wipe them. The reason I did this too, I know, let them win, but I wanted to complete some quests for Alterac Valley reputation, things like collecting the banner in the Stone Cold Cave. As we were flying about, Leofa would tell me that Rogue Jesus is now 100% confirmed. I ask him why, and he shows me this picture of what he sees on his screen. And I mean, I guess the jig is up. I am not kidding when I said when we sold Hodge runs, we was lucky. On our 3rd or 4th run, no loot, which means hand of justice again. We was spamming these out, and in the end I had about 732 gold or so. After I Hearthstone, Leofa comes to me and trades me my cut of the gold, because we didn't get a full 5 runs. He decided to trade me a little bit extra of gold on top. As I said, we are partners, and we always went 50-50, so I did accept a little bit extra this time, taking us to 832 gold, and enough to finally get rid of this goddamn horse. We headed over to Darnassus, the Night Elf capital, with Leofa following me on the tiger mount, as the last time I'll ever hear these horse hooves is now. I've already made my decision on which one of the 3 tigers I'm going to go for, and while the Storm Saber does look good and it was my first epic mount back in the day, I decided to go for the Swift Frost Saber, and now I feel like I'm finally truly finishing up on Classic. I didn't know how I'd make my gold, so I'm glad I found a good way and a friend while doing it too. But I can't say that I've mastered Classic WoW while not even having my fishing and cooking skill leveled up, can I? In between the queues of Alterac Valley, I decided to start fishing. My skill is very low to start with, and I actually didn't know how long this would take me, but it's definitely gonna not be a fast thing to do. Anyway, I helped out someone called Elstara with some starting gold. He seemed lost in Ironforge and wanted help finding the auction house. So after finishing up my Alterac Valley, I teamed up with him. I got him to follow me all the way there, and I showed him how to purchase items from the auction house and stuff, how to filter it by price, and then I took him to the mailbox to get his items. I felt like I'd done my good deed for the day, and we were slowly coming full circle because that used to be me clueless. It was around 12:30 at night, and I was fully broken, I won't lie. I was so tired from playing football in real life, but I still needed honor to rank up because it was a Tuesday night, meaning the reset happens very soon. I was auto running into walls. Leofa kept me sort of sane during this, and I only needed like 600 more honor. I was opening the tab just staring at it. So I went killing, and as soon as I saw my honor was done, I did the world's quickest Alt F4 and called it a night. I know I shouldn't leave BGs, my bad, but my brain was fried. The next day upon login, I'm now rank 8, making me a knight captain. So rank 8 and most of the way through it too. While I can't see how much honor I need to farm again this week, thanks to needing 15 honourable kills first, I can now go and purchase some PvP gear. Back in Stormwind in the Champions Hall, we can purchase 4 items: the boots, the gloves, the chest piece and the legs. So giving us some stamina gear, which should help us out in PvP. I head into an Alterac Valley again to see how much honour I'm going to need to grind for that week, because rank 11 is the goal. And also, we are farming rep with the dwarves here. This will give us a powerful item, but we're coming up to that. Alright, back to Stratholme for now and targeting that sweet cape. So after spending so long looking for tanks, we eventually agreed to take Forks, my friend. He does need a lot of gear as he's a freshly dinged 60, so he does need the cape too, but it's my last piece, so maybe, just maybe, he might let me have it if it drops. While waiting for people to come to us, we start a mini war. Mages boost here, so we kill them as they come out to reset, and we leave an absolute floor full of skeletons. No survivors at all. We end up farming quite a bit of honor too, and we're just having a blast while waiting for the dungeon. Shit! Oh, shit! I'm gone! I'm gone!
Ow, peace!
Now, Forks hasn't tanked this before either, so his pulls are questionable, but we do okay, is what I would have said if he didn't pull half of the dungeon. I then do manage to get Forks an invite to the guild I'm in too. so hopefully he can start raiding with us and getting some gear as well. But after seeing what he's just pulled, maybe it's not the best idea. A green shadow resistant ring drops, and I've learnt my lesson, these things can fetch for a fair bit of gold. And while I was going to need it and take it, I opt to do the right thing and greed it. And I'm rewarded for my efforts with a ring anyway. We kind of span this out a lot, and I haven't shown you the true amount of times I've been in here farming this cape, between raids and Alterac Valley and Blackrock depths. I gave the mage some mana potions and says he owes me 10 gold now. So the mage comes up to me, trades me. I thought he'd put in 10 gold, but he puts 1,000 gold, and I don't hit trade. I could have won 1,000 gold if I wasn't typing and hit trade. But I then say it's okay because the cape is obviously going to drop now, and nothing can bring me down. So as we arrive at Baron Rivendare, it's Forks' second or third run and my 40th it feels like, and we start killing him. Damage is great and the boss is melting, and I just want this pain to be over. I start already typing it out, but it doesn't matter because the cloak drops, and it does drop. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. But of course, Forks hits that need button, which he is entitled to. So I wait, I really don't want to lose this roll. It's my last item I need. Can I win it? And I lose the roll. As he types a haha, and I hit the quickest alt F4 ever. I was so done with this game. This all happened at 4:12 in the afternoon, by the way, which is going to be relevant very soon. Forks then couldn't tank for us anymore as he had to go. But this means we are now without a tank, and after seeing it drop after so many runs, I was so determined, so focused to get this item. And with an epic mount now acquired, I started dropping constant 50 goals on tanks to run it with us. And obviously, it doesn't drop quickly after either. Around 2 hours later, still going non-stop. I want this cape, and I'm still paying for tanks. We've got 2 mages in the group, but honestly, they just seem to be AFK. Damage feels so low, and things are taking so long to kill. And no wonder the healer is screaming at them. Everyone realizes that they're AFK and are literally doing no damage, which is fine, I don't really care. But the healer, Leofer, and the tank are all getting pretty mad now, because this is taking a lot longer than it should. And why is it always mages? And there's always a gnome too. For some reason, I didn't hit record, and I don't have the clip, but my rogue dungeon legs dropped the Shadowcraft ones here, which I'm happy to collect for a future patch. But a tank that I paid gold for stole them from me, even though he didn't need them because of their slow mages. He wanted extra gold. Yeah, so my day was going from worse to worse. No cape, hours of runs, AFK mages, ninja tanks, but it's not over yet. Nope. I wish it was. Fast forward to 10 PM now. That's around 6 hours of constant dungeon runs. Still no cape. I took a slight break from the dungeon farm to head to the Alterac Mountains here to grab some quests for reputation and an item. I can buy a cloak here, which is a blue and a better than my green one by a very tiny margin, but a small upgrade is a small upgrade. Naturally, as soon as I spend gold, the cape in the dungeon drops again from Stone Spine. Nobody needs it, so I win it. So at least we've got a good second option cloak for the time being. But dungeons has ended up becoming great fun. Me, Troz and Leofer had a great time. I was chilling, having a whiskey, blasting WoW with some friends, and what started off as a bad grind ended up turning into a very fun night. I was even wasting my world buffs and my Yeti, trying to beat Leofer on damage, but for some reason I just couldn't. But we don't talk about that ever again. Naturally, no cloak, but I did actually get my Shadowcraft leggings eventually. Then we meet someone called Remix WoW. Now, tell me what you can see here. Yep, he's a gnome, and he's a mage. So you already know what's about to happen. A staff of healing drops, and he instantly needs it and says,
Please.
And Leofer is like, wait, what, why? And he says,
Please OMG.
Everybody is confused to why he would need a staff, and he's begging for it. We tried to explain to him it's a healing staff, and I'm just like, at this point, why is it always mages? Remix WoW wins it, and the mage has once again took an item worth probably a lot of gold. Leofer kicks him instantly as he's had enough of mages needing everything. But this little Chad mage just stands there and starts dancing at us. Honestly, they don't give a shit, and I kind of admire it. But that was my night of Stratholme. 7 hours, no cape, and a lot of freaking gold spent. So in order to pay more tanks, I had to go back to Blackrock Mountain and sell Hand of Justice. Obviously, I don't get many runs in before another buyer gets his trinket, and we are really good at our jobs, actually. So it's the next day, and we start our dungeon farming once again at around 11 AM, and I'm so ready for a whole new day of this place. So once again, we make it all the way to Baron Rivendare, and I'm expecting nothing to happen, of course. It's the first run of the day, and after a very long, expensive grind last night, I'm mentally prepared again. But the cape drops instantly. First run of the day, and it's over. It's finally over, and we get the Cape of the Black Baron. With practically all the items got now from dungeons, gold was going back up as well thanks to BRD, gear looking solid, We are truly close to mastering phase 1. Now, I needed to farm exalted with Alterac Valley because there is epic daggers there and a ring that you can get. We are pretty close at revered, and now my guildies are explaining what items I should sort of go for. So in the next Alterac Valley, we finally hit that sweet exalted, and now I'm saying finally for you guys watching, it probably has only been a minute, but trust me, this battleground is my second home. Exandra, our guild leader, happily offered to also enchant my gear now, providing I get the materials. So I spend some more gold getting all the enchants and materials I need. I also bought plenty of the wrong items because, well, I'm a dum-dum. As you can see, my gear score is 762 with a 61 item level, which is pretty damn good. We've got a great piece of gear in every single slot, and now it's all enchanted too, increasing our power and our damage by a long shot. And it's just in time because I've got another Molten Core I gotta do. To top back up my gold, I went to do a few runs of BRD for Hodge, but naturally we get it this guy first try. And he says he's been doing this for around 70 runs. I can't even fathom the amount of gold that costs. Time for another MC raid, and honestly once more, super easy run. Bosses melt as usual, and I'm just here I'm hoping I can get some loot. We did have a slight hiccup, well, which was the only main takeaway from this MC. We pulled an extra dog, I believe, and people start dying, meaning they lose their world buffs, which definitely means their parties are messed up, but thankfully we didn't suffer too many deaths. We once again kill Ragnaros, and he drops a rogue tier 2 pants, Bloodfang, so I may have a chance at some loot here, but no. I didn't get one item this whole run, so getting best in slot is just going to be impossible. Let's move on. The usual Onyxia comes after Molten Core, and I always love watching people fail to make the bolt jump. It always brings a smile to my face. Am I sitting? No, I'm definitely not. Now, after making 175k honor last week, this week, which I've not shown you a lot of because quite frankly, it was one of the worst experiences I've had, and I never ever want to see AV again after doing this, we had to farm 337,000 honor. Yes, nearly 500,000 in 1 week. It was ridiculous, and I give props to anyone that can do this. It's brutal. Most of the time I was on past midnight just killing Horde in AV, trying my hardest to keep my eyes open and just rank up. But after an awful week of AV, I log in the next day and I did it. Rank 10 Lieutenant Commander Antijax. This allows us to now purchase a full set of PvP gear, including the head and shoulders, and I must say we look really cool too. I felt a great sense of accomplishment doing this to rank 10, and I didn't think I even had it in me, but I did it. And now with rank 10 done, what did I go and do?
Oh shit, here we go again.
Queue straight up for AV because that's not the max rank, and I'm on a journey to Master Classic, so once again, back to AV I go. Now I met an interesting character. Now of course he's a gnome because they're always the weird ones. After he danced for me, I gave him about 5 gold or so for a new weapon, and Dom has brought himself a spell power weapon. Go on, Dom. Anyhow, me and Leofa follow this little creature to see what he'll get up to. He's oblivious to our presence and even our chicken. I stand atop the mountain watching him run into a tank for a while, and we then follow him to the dwarf town. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name, by the way. As he comes out of a little hut, I come out of stealth and ask him if he thinks he can get away from me, and I ask him to dance for me once more, which he obliges to do. He then says he's going to follow me around, and he then has an exchange with Leofa about his name, Baseddom, and he gives us a background origin story. He then goes super quiet, and I try and trade in some stuff, but I think he's gone somewhere. As I see him move, that he's unfollowed to me. So now is the time to truly test Dom. I thought he was broken, but it seems he's okay. So I walk him into a pack of hungry wolves as they set upon him, and Dom comes back. I say for him to fight for me, as a third hungry wolf joins in. Dom is being eaten alive, but he tells us he has a potion, he's very close to death, and he has one wolf left to take on. Can our hero defeat these rabid animals? And Baseddom does. For his victory over these wolves, I give him 20 gold coins, and Leofa trades him a fish to turn him into a ninja. And with that, we have now made a new young warrior richer and tougher. We then bid our farewells to Baseddom as he tells us he loves us, and we ride away. And that was the last we ever saw of Baseddom. At this point, I was close to ending the journey. We got rank 10, had a full set of gear, epic mount, plenty of gold, bosses all dead. What else could I really do? Well, a lot actually. Let me show you. Obviously, Alterac Valley was my home for a while this week, and the chat was starting to get savage. People's brains were slowly melting, but it made for good entertainment while I was grinding. Part of the final thing we can do for Molten Core is to get something called a douse. If you have a douse, you can get an extra soft reserve, which means the potential for an extra item from a raid. In order to get this, we've got to do a quest chain, and we've got to get a reputation with the Hydraxian elementals. Now, where are these based, you may ask? The bottom of Ashara. Me and Forks decided to go do it together, and and luckily I've got an epic mount, so I can run across the zone faster, but my god is it a travel to get here. When we do arrive there, we meet Duke Hydraxian, and he wants us to travel around the world and collect some things for him. Now, as gold is pretty useless for me currently, I'll buy a summon. This is going to allow me to teleport around the world now much faster. The quests here are pretty easy, it's just to kill 30 mobs. So why is this hard? Well, because of bots and competition, and of course PvP. Now, for some reason, even though everyone had kind of a truce going on, this mage and priest really wanted to get me. So I baited them in before we ambushed them. Now, Forks is a little bit stupid and charges in as a warrior, under geared warrior, solo. And as a rogue comes in, helps us out too, and we fight for the mob's resources. Now, because I don't have any high level food, and Shadow Word Pain is ticking for 200 a time, so overpowered, I die, even though I meet him. There is nothing I can do about that. I really need to buy some max level food. So now the three of us after attack a single mage, and because we're not full health, this mage kills me, kills Forks, then kills Zilzaz. Let's never talk about the fact we just got 3v1'd ever again. Once we kill all the water elementals, we have to collect discordant braces in the plague lands on the other side of Azeroth. Not only do these damn water elementals take forever to find because so many people are farming these, they give you a shitty debuff too that slows your movement speed and reduces your agility. After all this, I head back to the Duke, which takes me a lot of time I must say, and I murder Horde here too, giving them hopefully a long corpse run back. Duke then tasks us with going to a dungeon to get him the Eye of the Embassy. I also realised this whole time I haven't even learned the max rank of bandages, even though I've been to Dustwaller Marsh hundreds of times. So I go to the Triarch guy and we finally learn heavy Runeclaff bandages too. Runecloth? Our next stop was UBRS, or Upper Blackrock Spire. Hereafter we take on the Fire Elemental, whose HP kinda just melts as fast as he can even spawn, Pyro God Embassy, and we can loot his eye. We then go and sell all my stuff at the auction house, and I was incredibly surprised to see how much the elemental stuff goes for. It's 32 gold for an Essence of Air, so it makes sense why there's so much competition and bots farming there a little earlier. I also kept farming Onyxia over and over every time there was a lockout free trying to get something, and I decided that soon I'll start targeting the quest item, the head of Onyxia. So other items are just too hard to get, the sword and the rogue head, and I'm really struggling, so it may be a better option going forward. Once we go back to Duke, we get another quest, which is to go into the Molten Core. This time we need to kill 4 different trash mobs there. So usually you can do this when you raid, but it'll take you an extra week. But I find a way around this soon. Now, as a rogue, I haven't been able to ever open a lockbox, ever. I've completely neglected my lockpicking skill, and it's about time I get it up. It was 150, and we need to max it out to 300. So that's what I get to work doing, knowing it's probably going to take me a bit of time. I start off in the Badlands at Angor Fortress, getting my skill up to around 200 or so, when I can finally start opening some boxes. After this, we had to stay in the Slag Pit for a very long time. They were pretty rare to come across a lot boxes here, and there's also rogue competition. But as Leofa is like my personal lockpicking assistant here, we just gang up and kill any Horde rogues taking our boxes. Then once I'm 225, I can finally empty my bank from all these sturdy junk boxes I've been collecting over time, and get back some well needed space. This then brought me all the way to near max, but I couldn't fully quite do it yet during the skill up session, so I decided it was time to work on my fishing skill too. It was relaxing just fishing in Stormwind, leveling up, and I still needed 127,000 more honor for rank 11, but I had a plan soon to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. While fishing, we was losing our heads a little bit, well, Leofa was, making it harder for me and others to rank up by jumping on our bobber trying to get us to fail the clicking, but it doesn't work. I also met a guy called Morpho who started a rogue thanks to my videos, and he was such a chill guy, so I decided to help him out on his rogue journey by trading him a gut ripper. He can either keep it or sell it, and I tell him if he reaches level 40, another one may be waiting for him. He trades me a clam in return, which is a very good deal I must say. I then spent some time leveling up fishing a tad bit more and cooking with Leofa, with a campfire in the moonlight, and this is what I truly liked about classic WoW. Okay, back to lockpicking to get to the max rank of 300. We only do that in Blackrock depths by picking the first 3 doors all the way up to 300. So what better way to get max lockpicking than to boost for gold? Zat was a lovely guy, and a feral DPS too, the first I've seen, and he said he's done over 100 runs for this so far. So obviously after a few runs, we get him his hand of justice. And I've got 300 lockpicking too, so well worth it. With lockpicking done, I decided to focus on cooking. Leveling cooking is much easier. It's very cheap to just buy the things you need off the auction house, and you can just build a fire and spam cook some fish. You can get to 225 very easily, but then you need to do a few quests to be able to get to 300. 300. First, we have to get a quest called I Know a Guy from Ironforge. Then, by taking a trip to the auction house, we can prepare for the quest that we need by buying the materials before we go to Gadget Zam. Then, we can just buy a portal straight to the inn, talk to the guy, hand in the quest, and bam, we can level cooking to 300. The only thing that stopped me was the fish itself. I bought out practically the whole auction house, but the rest of the items was just disgustingly overpriced, so I just decided to wait with that for the time being. Once I get my fishing to 225 also, just like cooking, there's a quest that I have to do to unlock to be able to max it out, and that's from a guy called Nat Pagel, who's relaxing on an island. He wants us to catch 4 different fish that are all around Azeroth. So remember when I said that it may take a week or 2 to get the mobs for Molten Core in the raid? Well, luckily for me, I found a trash farm group. They're looking for epics here because the epics that do drop sell for a shit ton of gold apparently, like 1000 plus. But the main reason I'm here is 1, reputation, and of course the mobs for the quests. As you can see, when I begin, I'm at 5100 reputation out of 6000 to honored, and a mob gives you around 22, so easily farmable. Molten Core trash is just super easy, so nothing here is a problem for us at all. I go around killing all the mobs we need, and an epic does drop, but it's called a class roll. So if a priest item drops, only a priest roll on it, etc, etc. And a few seconds later, a rogue belt drops. Now there's 4 rogues here, so I do have a good chance of getting this item. Well, I would have if the other rogues didn't roll an 86 and a 98, and I roll a shitty 60. Unlucky. We spend a bit more time killing more mobs with around 7 epics dropping before Gar, so I think that's good. And I hit honored with the Hydraxian warlords, and that means we can soon get our douse. I decided then before doing anything else to try and finish off that fishing quest. Now I thought it was just certain fish that had to be found. I didn't know these guys are also very rare, and after a quick wildhead search, it can take people hundreds of casts to find the fish. Luckily for me, after only 10 minutes or so, I fish up our first one, the Feralus Ahai. Knowing now what I know about the fish, it's probably going to take me a very long time. I wasn't feeling too great about it, but I was determined. So I was shocked when I spent only a few casts in Desolace and I got the Sarfinus Striker. Perfect. Now I went to hand in the quest, the Molten Core, before my raid so I can get the last one we need, which means running to the whole of Vishara once again. And you would think I've got the route down now after running it so many times, but nope, I die from jumping off a cliff. Ugh. Anyhow, once we turn it in, we've got one final quest to do, and that's to kill the bosses in Molten Core. We are very nearly approaching the end now, so 2 more fish to fish up in the Eastern Kingdoms. The first one was a Misty Reed Mahai, probably said that wrong. So after being AFK for 5 minutes, I shit you not, my first cast I get this fish to. So far, with only the Feralus one taking a little over 10 minutes, the rest have been very easy to get. And the last fish we needed was in Stranglethorn Vale in the Savage Coast. And after only 5 casts, I get the Savage Coast Blue Sailfin too, completing Nat Pagel's quest pretty quickly too, considering. On my way back to catch the boat, I use my rogue's favourite tool, Distract, and I watch a poor little warlock fall straight into the water, and the poor guy didn't even know how to get back up either. Nat Pagel then shows me how to fish to 300. It's the very last skill I need to max out now. So I did a YouTuber noob error thing. I thought I was recording and I wasn't. So I did my Molten Core, didn't get 1 item, but I did get all the hands that I'm showing here, so they're from the bosses. But yeah, very uneventful run. But I finished the last quest for the douse. I also met some little gnome mage called Wave. Now this mage wanted a fight, and I'm always willing, so I agreed to duel him. We both agreed to have full cooldowns ready and we let the battle begin. I get off a sap on the little mage without his ice barrier up, but my ambush doesn't crit him, but I'd still do over half to him. I then use sprint to break out of any snares. As I cast in a spell, I vanish it, allowing me to not be sheeped, but I'm frozen out of stealth. I then get grenaded and polymorphed, but I trinket and sprint again as I bring him to 1%. He then goes to cast a polymorph on me, but a freezing arrow to the mage's face takes him out as he presses ice block a little too late, making me victorious. Now this mage wants to test something called a kaboom on me. It's a one-shot, so I agree and I stand and take it. He also wants to build up some stacks on me and he's fully preparing. He then shoots me to full HP as he starts to cast his big gnomish death ray. And what happens? I resist it. Oh my god. The little gnome then says,
"No, I'm done."
Runs away, jumps off the side of a mountain. And that was the last time I ever saw Wave alive. After heading once again back to Ashara to turn in our quest, we can get something called the Equal Quintessence, otherwise known as a douse. This allows us to hopefully get extra loot at Molten Core. The rewards are also a 6 gold and a ring that's really useless. Perfect. So remember when I said 2 birds, 1 stone? I had so much honor to farm, and quite frankly, I was sick to death of Alterac Valley. So I decided to level up fishing, which takes forever, while farming honor. Now usually Horde ran right past me and left me alone, until this one little shit Pixel Chen, he mind controls me to the bottom of the lake, trying to drown me, this guy. He then lands a sap on me for 44 seconds and swims off. This definitely means death for me. What a smart idea. He must have had this planned. But luckily for me, my sap actually breaks. So I make it to the top of the water just in time. And I can see him looking around, scared for me. So naturally I just murder him for his pathetic but very smart plan of drowning me while I was fishing. In between AV farms and fishing farms, I was still spamming out Onyxia. This time I really wanted a head. No, not like that. The head of Onyxia, it's an item. Obviously a pug in the middle of the day means constant wipes, deaths and the usual malarkey. But in the end we bring down the beast once more and there's only a few of us on the head. Me, Crotian, Netherith and Heavy Drizzle. So the helmet is rolled out and I win it with a massive 17 roll. What's this footage? Where did this come from? No, I won it from rolling. Cut. Sorry about that. Must have been a glitch or something. Anyhow, with the head of Onyxia, we have a quest to turn in. This then gives us a powerful item, a best in slot item for us. Then I spent a few days fishing in the snowy zone of Alterac Valley. By zone, I mean battleground. But let's not fight, let's fish. And after many hours, I get that last skill point to 300 fishing. I still don't have fully enchanted gear, so by buying some items and following Troz on an adventure, we end up going all the way to Diamore, the dungeon. Here, when I traded some goods that I bought from the auction house, she asked me to trade my helmet, and she's enchanted it with the Arcanum of Rapidity, which goes on both my helmet and my legs for a massive 1% attack speed, so 2% in total. So now we are fully geared, fully enchanted, and so close to the end. I then go and turn in the head of Onyxia, which gives us our best in slot epic necklace, and we can learn how to craft an Onyxia scale cloak. I buy all the mats off the auction house and I craft myself one. But what is this cloak for? Well, that's for a future video to explain. With every skill now maxed to 300, fishing, cooking, lockpicking, level working, skinning, a full set of enchanted gear that is very good, epics, PvP gear, a epic mount, there was just one thing left to tackle. That was ranking. I never wanted to do this, but I had to. I had to get to the max rank for this phase. So I spent many more hours in this snowy hell grinding away. While grinding, I also found something I've never ever seen in Stormwind. It was like a building that had nothing in it, but I didn't even know it existed. And I'm always finding new things. It's still crazy. But this was it. I only needed 122 more honor to finally be done with this place. And the Alliance claimed victory while I'm dead. Meaning, I don't need any more honor for this week, and now we just sit and wait until the morning. It's the very next day, and as I log in, I'm greeted with the title Commander Antijax, rank 11, the highest PvP rank achievable as of this video. This allows me to now purchase 2 mounts, the reins of the Black War Tiger, and of course I went and bought this stupid little horse too. And that is it. I did it. I went from a complete noob to someone sitting at rank 11 on a Black War Tiger with a full set of gear, 1,000 gold in the bag, epic mounts, enchanted armor. Everything I needed, really. I've met so many friends on the way, made some enemies, had countless stories, but for me, I feel like I mastered Classic WoW. I did everything I set out to do. Antijax's story of Phase 1 does end here, but there is plenty more content to do and things to see, because we all know Illidan is waiting for us at the end. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more WoW content. We're nearly at 10k subs, which is mind-blowing. I appreciate all of you watching, and I'll see you in the next World of Warcraft video.